Well, hello everyone. Dee Lanier, Mr. Matt Miller, Dr. Micah Shippee, Dr. Monica Burns. So let's talk a little more about interactive display. You know, Samsung has an interactive display that is fantastic. It also does not require that teachers learn a ton of new tools and tech and all of that good stuff. It really allows them to blend traditional learning practices with what we know is good teaching practice and allows them to jump right on in. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thanks, Dee. I totally agree. Any interactive display that allows you to plug in and go and not have to spend hours learning how to use new software, that's what we're really looking for in education. The Samsung interactive display, you pick up the pen, you start writing, and you're good to go with your instructional practice. Yet it allows you to scale up your practice, to do more, to take a deeper dive with the technology when you're ready. But I know for adoption of technology, as long as we can rely on familiar practice that we know has high value and something that always has worked, why dump it, right? You know, we want to amplify good practice, and the interactive display, I think, really does that.
All right, so Matt, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on why it's important for technology to support teachers in their current practices?
Yeah, those current practices, right? Because teachers have been teaching their content for a while. They already kind of have a feel for what they want to do and what works with their students. So they've already got that sort of as a baseline. But if you can plug in some technology that can help, and they don't, like what Micah was saying, they don't have to learn a whole bunch of new platforms, and they don't have to transform what they're doing. They can kind of take what they already have, plug it into some new technology, and then level up that practice a little bit. That benefits everybody.
Great points, Matt. I think often about how technology can be integrated into what teachers are doing and then level it up so that they can do even more. So I'm curious, Micah, how do you see using interactive displays as a way to improve student outcome?
I see interactives as really having a place in amplifying good practice, as we've been saying all along. And one of those practices is when we use video in the classroom, whether it be a 2-minute video or a 20-minute video, pausing it and having conversations with students and together as a community making meaning out of what we see is really, really important. And a lot of these media sources that we use are great graphics to stimulate conversation in our classroom. So pausing a video, using our interactive pen or overlay over the top, annotating what's right on the screen, hyper-focusing students' attention on a portion of a screen can really benefit their retention of the information. Additionally, retention takes place when we use subtitling, not only in a classroom where vocabulary related to the content area is super specific, but also when we're trying to help students transition and learn a different language. So if you're a world language teacher and you have subtitling in a different language, you're helping students to see how it matches their schema, their current knowledge of the language that's close to them and the language that they're trying to reach. And so using that tool in the classroom is really ideal, and the bright, vibrant color that an interactive display has is going to help that really pop and resonate with students.
And to kind of piggyback on that big, vibrant display, if you have something like a map or something with details, if the display's too small or if the resolution isn't good enough, nobody sees what's going on. But having something that's clear and crisp that everybody can see from any place in the room makes sure that everybody understands.
Yeah, so those are definitely ways in which interactive displays help students. I'm curious, Monica, what are your thoughts around how interactive displays can help teachers?
Interactive displays can absolutely help teachers communicate information, model for students, present clear visuals for their groups. And this could be a whole group of students that they're instructing. It could also be a small group that they're bringing together to dive deep into a new topic and have a really great conversation on what's happening, not just around them, but also there on the screen.
To complement that idea, when I'm teaching a new tool to a student, whether it's using Google Slides or using some third-party visual software, there's so many little components to the software that I want to draw their attention to. So instead of me pointing with my finger or saying, go to that little symbol up there of the paintbrush, I'd rather annotate over the top and circle it, be able to walk around and say, it's up there, I circled it, and it's kind of an aid in the classroom.
It's a huge reference for everyone, whether it's one student who needs that extra thing to look back to, or a whole group of students that needs that throughout the course of a lesson. A really powerful visual teaching tool for teachers.
I think about, you keep using the word tool and tools, right? There's both. And so the interactive display is a tool and there are tools on it. And think about, what about the student who says, I can't see that, Mr. Miller?
Right.
And so to be able to use a select tool and to make it bigger, right? So that others can see it. Those are things that we didn't have capability of before, to zoom in, literally, to move around, to make copies, to not only annotate on top, but sometimes move the video to the side and annotate on the other side of it. Like, lots of flexibility that's helpful for the student and helps the teacher teach differently in many ways.
Yeah, that reminds me of the old days when you would have a picture, like a photograph that you wanted to show everybody, like here it is, and you want to do on your phone, like where you pinch to make it bigger, but you can't do that with that photo. But if it's up there on the display, you just make it bigger, and that benefits everybody, right?
And those are definitely things that can be part of your plan, right?
Right.
Intentionally pulling this into your instruction. But we've all been there with those teachable moments, or the I wish I could moments, and now you have so much more flexibility than you did in the past.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I love the idea of helping students highlight and focus on area. And in my career as a history teacher, I used artwork a lot, historical artwork.
Yep.
And I wanted to teach students about how the artist is helping to make meaning with color and with the sun. Is the sun setting?
Yeah.
Is there a spotlight on a character? Is this dark in the background? And being able to zoom in and hyper-focus on a primary source like that is incredibly valuable to enhance student understanding.
And you said color, and I think about color coordination and think that this color means this and this color means that, and the ability to select different colors easily, not have to worry that your pen has run out of ink. So being able to draw connections and really anchor the students back to the learning and what our objectives are. Really cool. All right, so we're talking a lot about interactive displays, and one of my passions is to talk about creating an interactive environment. How do we utilize this display and other tools in the classroom to create interactivity, right? So tell me a little bit more about your thoughts in that regard. How do we untether that teacher from the front of the room?
I think of it as an ecosystem. The ecosystem of a classroom is the technology, it's the learners, it's the teacher, and how does this ecosystem sync up? There's so much conversation about the smart home or the smart shopping experience, and how if I go somewhere, my customization settings are all there, it's traveling with me, but where's the place in the classroom? Why can't we have a place for that in the classroom? Why can't a teacher be untethered from the front of the room and the computing brains travel with them around the room? They can cast from a tablet or cast from a laptop device to the front of the room where the student's attention might be taking place.
And there's many ways to organize a classroom learning experience, so having that space for a visual display while at the same time an untethered teacher can move around and really facilitate a high quality blended learning environment.
Yeah, and to kind of go along with this whole idea of not just the traditional right in the front of the class situation, having students come up and work through the display is a pretty cool thing too. Having them rotate through as a station or kind of swap through. I'm always looking for ways to get student hands on those displays too. That of course untethers the teacher from it because the students got to be able to use it too. So it's not just a teacher device, is it? It's a whole class device.
I witnessed a classroom teacher masterfully take student groups through the use of a tablet. So the students have a large tablet. They each took turns annotating on the tablet, collaborating on a mind map, and then they took turns casting to the front of the room from the group and discussing what was on that mind map. I thought that was really cool. I had become so used to cloud-based tools where students would be on a device, they'd share with their classmates, and they'd all annotate together. But there's something tangible about passing the tablet around, annotating on it, casting to the front of the room. The teacher then is able to annotate with her interactive tools right for the front of the classroom.
Yeah, it kind of feels traditional, but it's also modernized. It's like a little bit of the best of both worlds.
Yeah. This really is an exciting time, is it not? Yeah. Seems like we're at a place and time where we have the opportunity to truly transform what education is for students and the experience for teachers.